Anna Schneider walked into a luxury car dealership in Munich, dressed in a simple white t-shirt, jeans, and worn-out sneakers. She admired the sleek vehicles, running her fingers along the polished surfaces. When she approached a luxury model and asked about its price, the sales manager, Klaus Bergman, barely hid his disdain. "This car starts at 280,000 euros, he said with a smirk. "Perhaps you should look at our used car section instead." Anna remained silent, sensing the judgment in his tone. Without another word, she turned and left. The next morning, the dealership staff watched in surprise as a gleaming midnight blue Maybach pulled up outside. A chauffeur in a crisp uniform stepped out and opened the door. Anna emerged, her demeanor unchanged, calm, composed, and still wearing simple clothes. However, her presence now commanded attention. Inside, Bergman spotted her again and rolled his eyes. "Back so soon?" he sneered. "This time, do you know what you're looking for?" Anna smiled politely. "Yes, I'd like to purchase the 300,000 euro coupe." Bergman scoffed. "That model is only available by appointment." His voice dripped with sarcasm. Then, spotting an elegantly dressed couple entering, he immediately shifted gears, greeting them warmly. "Welcome. Let me show you our finest models," he said, leading them to the very car Anna had asked about. Anna watched, unbothered, as he effortlessly dismissed her. Then, in a clear voice, she said, "I'll pay in cash." Bergman chuckled, shaking his head. "Miss, you're wasting my time." His condescending tone drew the attention of other customers. At that moment, a man in a tailored suit entered. The employees straightened up instantly. It was Richard Meyer, the dealership owner. He noticed the tension in the air and asked what was happening. Anna turned to him and introduced herself properly. Anna Schneider. Recognition flashed across Meyer's face. Unlike Bergman, he knew who she was, one of the most influential philanthropists in Germany, heiress to a vast fortune, and the founder of a foundation supporting children with disabilities. Bergman, still skeptical, interrupted. "If you're serious, show me proof you can afford it." A murmur ran through the showroom. Customers exchanged glances, sensing the insult behind his words. Anna held his gaze, expression unreadable. Then, without another word, she turned and walked out. Later that evening, at her family's lakeside villa near Starnberger See, her husband Marcus, a billionaire entrepreneur, noticed her deep in thought. "What's wrong?" he asked. Anna sighed, staring at the calm water. "It's time to teach someone a lesson." A man of considerable wealth stood in the showroom, his presence commanding attention. "Mr. Schneider, it's truly an honor. What brings you here today? May I show you our latest models? We just received a limited edition." Marcus raised his hand slightly, immediately halting Bergman's well-rehearsed sales pitch. "I'm here for a specific model. The Azure Coupe in midnight blue," Marcus stated. Bergman's smile widened. "An excellent choice, Mr. Schneider. Only 15 of these were produced this year. I'd be delighted to show it to you. It's just over—" "I know where it is," Marcus interrupted calmly. "My wife was here yesterday and showed interest in that exact model." A flicker of confusion crossed Bergman's face, though his professional smile remained. "Your wife?" "I don't recall. Perhaps one of my colleagues assisted her." Marcus's expression turned noticeably colder. "No, Mr. Bergman, you assisted her, or rather, dismissed her. Anna Schneider. She was wearing jeans and a white t-shirt. You suggested she might be better suited for the used car section." The color drained from Bergman's face. Behind him, a younger salesman, Lucas, let out an audible gasp as he followed the conversation. "Mr. Schneider, I... Bergman stammered, his usually confident voice faltering. "This must have been a misunderstanding. We welcome all customers." "It was not a misunderstanding," Lucas suddenly interjected. All eyes turned to him. He seemed startled by his own courage, but pressed on. Mrs. Schneider was treated disrespectfully. She was polite, genuinely interested, and clear in her request, but she was repeatedly turned away, solely because of her appearance. Bergman shot Lucas a withering glare, but the damage was done. Marcus turned to Richard Meir, the dealership owner, who had just arrived, sensing the tension. "Mr. Meir, I presume?" "Yes," Meir replied, extending a hand. "Richard Meir, welcome to Prestige Automobiles." "Thank you. I was just explaining to Mr. Bergman that my wife visited yesterday, interested in purchasing the Azure Coupe as a gift for her sister, but she was treated in a way I find deeply concerning." Meir's friendly demeanor shifted to one of seriousness. "I'm very sorry to hear that. I was engaged in another conversation at the time, so I wasn't aware of the details." Marcus's voice remained steady, but firm. "The details include your sales manager suggesting my wife didn't belong in an establishment like this, based on her clothing." By now, a small crowd had formed. Other salesmen, employees, and even a few customers. The showroom had fallen silent. "Mr. Schneider, if there was a misunderstanding," Bergman began, desperation creeping into his tone. "There was no misunderstanding," Marcus interrupted coldly. "You know what's interesting, Mr. Meir?" Marcus continued. "My wife founded the Schneider Foundation for Children with Disabilities. She has dedicated herself to it long before we were married. She has raised over 50 million euros for specialized medical equipment and educational programs." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. "Anna chooses to dress simply because she believes in a modest life, despite our wealth. It allows her to connect with the families she helps. That's one of the many reasons I love her." Meir had turned visibly pale. "Mr. Schneider, I assure you this does not reflect our values. We hold ourselves to high standards." "Actions speak louder than words, Mr. Meir," Marcus cut in. "As for the Azure Coupe, I'm not just here to buy a single car." Bergman's head snapped up, hope flickering across his face. "Originally, the plan was to purchase the Azure as a gift for Anna's sister," Marcus continued. "However, I am also considering renewing our company fleet, 7 vehicles in total. Additionally, I've been thinking about updating my private collection." Meir's eyes widened. A deal of this scale would meet their quarterly sales goals in one transaction. But Marcus wasn't finished. "However, I now question whether this is the right establishment for such an investment." Silence. The tension in the showroom was thick. Bergman looked physically ill. "Mr. Schneider," Meir said desperately, "I deeply regret this unfortunate incident. It does not align with our business philosophy. Please allow us the opportunity to make amends." Marcus considered this for a moment, before nodding. "Perhaps there is a way forward," he said finally, "but it goes beyond car sales." "Anything you require," Meir said quickly. "The Schneider Foundation is hosting a charity gala next month to raise funds for a new sports center for children with physical disabilities," Marcus said, now turning directly to Bergman. "I believe your presence would be educational." Bergman swallowed hard. "Not as a guest," Marcus clarified, "as a volunteer, helping with setup, assisting the children, so you can see what truly matters." The message was clear. This was no longer about business. It was about learning a fundamental lesson. "Additionally," Marcus turned back to Meir, "I strongly recommend implementing internal training on unconscious bias. I know some excellent consultants." Meir nodded eagerly. "Absolutely. We would greatly appreciate that." "As for the vehicles," Marcus said, now looking at Lucas, "I'd like you to handle the paperwork, starting with the Azure for my sister-in-law." Lucas's eyes widened. I thank you, Mr. Schneider. It would be an honor." "Good," Marcus said firmly. "Now, let's discuss the company fleet." As they walked toward Meir's office, Marcus paused by the Azure Coupe, running his hand over its sleek curves. "My wife has excellent taste, doesn't she?" he remarked. Behind them, Bergman stood frozen. His perfectly curated world had crumbled. The bitter truth was undeniable. His true character was not revealed in how he treated important clients, but in how he treated those he deemed unimportant. 1 month later, the Grand Hotel Munich had transformed into a beacon of hope. The Schneider Foundation's charity gala was in full swing, a celebration of possibilities. Children with disabilities and their families mingled with doctors, donors, and supporters. Near the entrance stood Klaus Bergman, but not in a designer suit. This time he wore the uniform of the event staff. He greeted guests, helped a young boy in a wheelchair through the doors. The past month had changed him. His work at the foundation had begun as a punishment, a condition to salvage his career. But something had shifted. He had seen the struggles of these children. He had witnessed their dignity. Across the room, Anna Schneider approached him, elegant in a simple blue dress. Despite now knowing exactly who she was, he was once again struck by her humility. "And how has the experience been, Mr. Bergman?" she asked kindly. He hesitated before answering. "Humbling," he admitted, "and necessary." Anna nodded. "Thomas seems to have taken a liking to you," she observed, glancing at the boy in the wheelchair. "He's teaching me wheelchair basketball," Bergman said with a small smile. "Apparently, I'm terrible at it." Anna laughed, genuinely, warmly. "He's an honest coach," she said. Bergman's expression grew serious. "Mrs. Schneider, I know I've already apologized officially, but I want to say it personally. I'm truly sorry for how I treated you. There's no excuse for it." "You're right," Anna said simply, without bitterness. "The only question is, what have you learned?" "That value is not determined by appearance, status, or possessions," Bergman said thoughtfully, "and that respect should be given until someone proves they don't deserve it, not the other way around." "Good lessons," Anna said. "Expensive ones, I imagine." Bergman gave a forced smile, thinking about the lost revenue from Marcus's decision to purchase only one car instead of an entire fleet. "Every cent was worth it," he admitted. Across the room, Marcus joined them. Anna placed a hand on his shoulder. "Bergman was just sharing some insights," she said. Marcus nodded. "I hear you're now involved in adaptive sports programs." "Yes, Mr. Schneider," Bergman said hesitantly. "In fact, I've decided to continue beyond my required time, voluntarily." Marcus smiled. "That's good to hear. Speaking of which, about that company fleet? We're still interested. Perhaps you'd like to oversee the process." Lucas had spoken highly of him. For the first time in his life, Bergman felt truly seen, not for who he had been, but for who he was becoming.